Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today we got a good one on the dock. Dill, with your mock draft 3.0 at the time, you have some big trades in here. I'm excited to kind of tear it apart. I think I see some picks that I'm already chomping at the bit a little bit. Before we get in, two things. Wanted to thank you guys for 750 subscribers on the channel. Dill and I, we love talking ball. You guys showing a crazy amount of support to the boys means a lot. Second thing, we're doing a live stream for the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday night, 2 Thursdays from now. Tune into it. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a bunch of different guests on, a few of our boys who are into the draft, a few just football fans that are going to talk some ball. I want you guys in the chat. Watch it with us. It's going to be a good time. Dill, let's get into your first round NFL mock draft 3.0. The gym background, you getting after it or what?
No, but I wouldn't mind people thinking I am, so I'm down to do it.
That's some rock boy culture right there. Dumbbells, little punching bag. I remember us hitting the bag during COVID. All right, let's get into some football though. Aidan Hutchinson, number 1 overall pick. Makes sense. We're Aidan Hutchinson boys. Best player on the field last year. What I want to talk about, Kayvon Thibodeaux, number 2. We're seeing a lot of Travon Walker, Dane Brugler, Lance Zierlein, both having Travon Walker going number 1 overall. And if he's not going number 1, you see him going number 2 in almost any mock.
I will not let the non-college football fans, like the people who don't actually like the sport and don't watch it until the draft rolls around, tamper or sully his name. He was by far the best edge rusher with Hutch. It was like those two were consensus. If you just watch the game, it's not even a question in my mind. Both were so dominant and so good. And now people must have forgotten, or I'm not totally convinced these people watch all the games at the time and just maybe go back and watch whatever they do. But if you're watching the games, you know Kayvon's the second best edge rusher at worst. Could be the best.
And I mean, the stats show it, 92 pass rush grade. And people say, oh, you don't have to game plan around him. I remember numerous times I'm watching the film and this dude is taking over the game.
Just nobody dropped back and blocked him one-on-one. Not one team, if you actually watch these games. So they definitely were.
Yeah, I don't hate Travon Walker. You have him falling to 19. So there's Dill's take on Travon Walker. I don't hate Travon Walker going to number 8 to the Falcons if Jermaine Johnson goes 7 to the Giants. I'm probably not as low as you on Travon Walker, and we'll talk about him when he comes up. But I'm definitely not as high on Travon Walker as some of the other people. Moving on to number 3, Charles Cross, our best tackle. You're looking to build around Davis Mills. The only worry I have is I want Charles Cross to go somewhere he's going to be the left tackle. Laramie Tunsil's still there. You can't waste his athleticism and his skill and pass protection at left tackle. But he is the best tackle on the board. We both have him there, going number 3 to the Texans. Dill, I'm going to give you another chance to really get after it. Kyle Hamilton, tell us why he's so impactful.
I don't know. Watch the game. He's versatile to a point where he can play. He makes plays at the line. He makes plays as a free safety. I mean, I don't think you saw him do a ton of man coverage, but I don't think that's what his job is going to end up being in the NFL. I think he's going to be a rangy free safety, makes plays in the box, and is productive taking the ball away.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton's a guy that I think his production and his value to a team goes beyond just the stat sheet. I mean, you look at where he lined up at Notre Dame, slot, deep safety, on the edge, coming off the edge. He's even lined up at corner sometimes. He's everywhere around the football. And he gives, I mean, in an NFL time period of defenses where you're trying to get as much speed, athleticism on the field, but also be able to stop the run. Having a guy like Kyle Hamilton who can walk in the box and be an enforcer in the run game, but also have the range that you mentioned to play kind of deep in coverage, and being that versatile, allow you to have different fronts, different defensive packages. That's the value of Kyle Hamilton. And he's a guy that I really think will be able to erase those bigger, the jumbo slots like Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, because he's perfect for that. Kind of what Derwin James does at LA. You see the value there. And I think there's no problem taking him at number 4. He's a top 5 prospect on our board. He's a stud. Ikem Ekwonu to number 5. I think that's a realistic pick. I had him going there too, just because I love Icky at right tackle. And he's an absolute road grade. I think he still has some stuff to figure out in pass pro. But we both. And then Malik Willis at 6. Talk a little bit about it.
I actually think this is a decent spot for the Panthers to trade out. I think they're going to end up with Baker. That's what it seems like. That I think that fit makes sense. And I just get a feeling that the Steelers have watched too much bad quarterback play for the last 4 or 5 years with a Roethlisberger who just never let it go and never retired. And I think they're just going to want to shake it up. And I can't imagine Tomlin wants to go back to below average quarterback. And I think there's a concern with Trubisky that might be what you get. So.
And even if it is 1 year, Mitch Trube being kind of the bridge quarterback, which I think he's a perfect bridge quarterback. And don't forget,
that's what the contract was. So
it was a couple of years ago that he was a number 2 overall pick and was actually led the Bears to a playoff game. Although he wasn't great,
well, that was the defense.
But he also wasn't in a great. Matt Nagy in that offense just was absolute dog water. It was bad. And so I'm not even out on Mitch Trubisky, but I do love Malik Willis here. My only problem with the Panthers, and I don't hate it because I think the Panthers need to acquire more capital. I mean, they have this 6th overall pick and then don't pick to the 4th round. That's a problem.
You could want the tackle. I
want the tackle. Go give me Evan Neal because I think Charles Cross, Icky, and Evan Neal all have that all-pro label on them. I think they all could be all-pros. I think they all probably, at least 2 of the 3 of them are going to be all-pros. So passing up on a left tackle that has kind of eluded that franchise for so long is my only problem with the pick. With the trade.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think the Steelers are one of those teams that might be looking at gunning for a spot to trade up into the top 10 because Mike Tomlin loves Malik Willis. And there's not a lot to hate.
Does seem that way.
Derek Stingley, cornerback 1. This is also kind of against the grain. And Dale, you're noted for going against the grain.
No, it isn't. That's not that against the grain. That's just you. It's not everyone's pick, but if they take the tackle, they're probably going edge or corner, and I don't know. Derek Stingley's really good.
Yeah, Jermaine
with no Kayvon on the board, I think it makes sense.
But. See, I don't think Jermaine Johnson's that far off from Kayvon personally. Now that being said, this is kind of what we thought it would go. Derek Stingley keeps falling as the medicals continue to be a concern, and we said all along once he tests like the freak he is, people are going to start talking about that freshman film and how good he was, and that's what's happening. He's kind of back into that top 10 pick. So it's I like Derek Stingley. I think he has the ability to be an absolute eraser, Jalen Ramsey cornerback. I wouldn't complain about the pick. And then the Falcons just get super lucky. Jermaine Johnson, I don't see Jermaine Johnson falling outside of the Falcons unless they like Travon Walker. Jermaine Johnson just fits what they need to do. What did they suck at last year? What do they continue to suck at for a while? And why that Falcons defense so bad? They can't stop the run. They can't get after the passer. Jermaine Johnson is going to address both of those concerns. Great prospect. He had great film. He had great measurables and tested well. He's a lock. I like this pick. Tell me why you have the Seattle Seahawks going up getting Kenny Pickett.
I think he's the most solid quarterback so far. Just seems like he'll come in and be really pretty good. Yep. I don't think his ceiling's overly high, but I also don't think that's what Pete Carroll wants. So I
love it. Yep. Exactly what I had. I actually had Kenny Pickett fall into the 2nd round and the Seahawks getting him there. This is Pete Carroll's guy. Go get a guy that's going to play within the offense. He's not going to try to do too much. He's a really good processor of the field. He's going to make the right reads. He's going to get the ball out on time and accurate. Pete Carroll's guy. 10. Sauce Gardner, absolute steal.
I think you can double up here. You're so bad in the secondary, and these 2 guys are good.
And they're 2 great prospects. And what I love about Sauce Gardner is he is just, I think, one of the safest picks in the draft. Great length. He uses his hands really well. He's very fluid for his height and length. Has that 4.41 speed. That was the big question mark. And the production and film is there. I mean, he checks all the boxes. I think he's a very, very safe prospect. That's what the Jets need. They just need some guy to come in and be really good. I wonder if they go Travon Walker just because of Robert Saleh. They love the defensive line there. But Sauce Gardner at 10 would be a great pick for the Jets. And the next big trade we got, Chris, I hope this doesn't happen because as a Bills fan, as a Bills and Michigan fan, I'm done seeing Chris Olave lining up across from my DBs. I've had enough of him. A dude that absolutely dominated and had a historic career at Ohio State. People don't realize he was breaking records of legendary receivers there. He was completely dying. Not as flashy as Garrett Wilson. He's your wide receiver 1, my wide receiver 2. But why do you think Chris Olave? I'll ask you this: why do you think Chris Olave would be so dominant in this Kansas City offense? And why is he worth trading up so much?
It's not even – I think there's two really good wideouts in this class. I think there's a gap between those two, and the next guy. And I'm like on the camp that the Chiefs can't play with no quarterback, like no talent on the edge. Because when Patrick Mahomes needs to do too much and he kind of loses his mind a little bit, like he did in the first half of this year, they don't look as good on offense. So that's kind of like they need somebody. They're really weak there. Juju Smith-Schuster, in my mind, is like bordering on being a two. Bordering.
Yeah, he's not a wide
I don't
receiver.
love his game. So then it's like him, McCole Hardman. That's not even close. You need an alpha dog, and I think Olave is that guy.
And yeah, what you said is it was perfect. Pat Mahomes, what got them into trouble and why you saw their offense struggles, particularly in that first half of the season, is that they were trying to do too much, trying to kind of play too much backyard football. Pat Mahomes out there scrambling for his life. That's not his game. And that was part of the wide receivers game. Like those guys like to scramble drill. They like to find the open space and get the ball, specifically guys like Tyreek Hill, kind of broken plays, getting downfield. Give a guy who has all the routes in the route tree to run. He's going to create separation in man coverage. He's great at finding the open spots in zone coverage. Pat Mahomes gets the ball out on time early to Chris Olave. I think it's a great fit. They need a little bit more structure in that offense. They obviously
he's also a legit big play guy. So I don't love the whole like this guy can only do short intermediate routes. Like he made big plays for Ohio State all.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. And he, No,
I'm just saying it feels like what people say is he's not an explosive. Like he's just so smooth. Like people forget, but he can fly. He makes big plays and he tracks the ball.
And he just fits what I think. Like I've said this a lot. I feel like I'm a broken record, but he fits what the wide receivers. What's working recently with the wide receivers is just the clean, polished route running. Justin Jefferson's not a freak athlete. Cooper Kupp's not a freak athlete. Even Devontae Adams, not freak athletes. What are they freaky at? Really, really polished route running, and they just have a great feel for finding open space. That is what Chris Olave is. Oh, he's maybe even a little bit more athletic. It's just I love the pick. Trent McDuffie falling to 12 to the Minnesota Vikings. This is a tough spot for them because I think they're hoping they either get Sauce or Derek Stingley or someone like Jermaine Johnson falls.
Yeah.
I see a black cat out my window. Horrible juju. I'm just going to ignore it. Trent McDuffie, not good. It's not good.
Vibes.
Bad vibes. Trent McDuffie, though, is just a solid cornerback. As an Eagles fan, I have a buddy who's an Eagles fan. We're talking about it. If Trent McDuffie falls to the Eagles at 15, I think that'd be an awesome pick for them.
They also could go Trayvon, I think, but I'm not a Trayvon guy, so
I agree. You're just not a Trayvon guy. However, like if this was a predictive mock and not a what would Dill's big brain do, Travon Walker would probably be going to the Vikings. Probably be going maybe to the Falcons or the Giants. It's just how the NFL views them. We don't agree with it. We'll talk Travon Walker when we get to him, though. But Trent McDuffie is just a super solid cornerback. The film's great. Only worry, I say it all the time, when has he been tested? There's no quarterback wide receiver duo that is like really testing him at an NFL level. I mean, Anthony Brown's not going to. Anthony Brown stinks. And so just wasn't really that type of guy. Now, what I want to see, Evan Neal falling to the Texans at 13. You have him doubling up on tackle, which is an interesting pick. And I don't even.
I think they could ship True. I still think he could very much be on the move.
And this puts them in a great spot. And what you have here is two absolute buckend tackles. Charles Cross going to play left. Evan Neal's going to play right. Bookend tackles. Keep correcting me. I'm just going to keep making that mistake. Bookend tackles. Charles Cross at left, Evan Neal at right, and you have that might be one of the best tackle duos legit in the league.
I just think they're picking like they're just so far away. If he ends up falling, it's just like they should be picking best available at every spot because they're not even in the stratosphere of winning a game. So.
And if I'm like a team like the Panthers or even the Saints at 16, I'm ringing the bell if Evan Neal falls at 13, and we might see that because there is some.
That's fair.
If quarterbacks go in the top 10, like you had two top 10 quarterbacks, I didn't have my quarterback go till 20. If two quarterbacks go in the top 10, there are a lot of good prospects that are going to be shifted down. And there are some teams that need tackles. The Saints. If the Panthers traded down, maybe the Panthers look to trade back up. Because Evan Neal is going to be a bona fide good tackle in the league. And there's a lot of value at 13. You don't have to trade too far up. Jordan Davis to the Ravens. I don't think we'll see a mock where Dill doesn't have Jordan Davis going to the Baltimore Ravens, a guy that's just his game's going to transfer to the next level. I think it even projects to even be a little bit better because the offenses don't run that much or don't run that fast. The gas tank won't be a problem. I know you love that pick. I think that'll be your pick. And when we do our last mock before the draft, it makes a lot of sense.
100%.
For a lot of different reasons. Garrett Wilson, my wide receiver 1 falling to 15. We're seeing the wide receivers slide down a little bit, which is good, a good omen for like a team like the Packers who are really looking for a wide receiver.
I think you're really deep. You got 3 tackles who are doing it, a bunch of ends, and probably 3. You're just kind of deep in spots. Like in wideout isn't the most high value pick. So I think if you're like a mid round team like the Eagles who could use a really good wideout, I think you might be in luck.
I agree.
And the Saints, frankly. So
yes, I absolutely. And depending on, I mean, this draft is going to be interesting to see just where teams go with quarterbacks. So you have a bunch of teams that could go quarterback, but they also could not. There's not a quarterback that's locked to go in the top 5 or even the top 10. We could see a draft where the quarterback, not even one quarterback goes in the top 10. Because quite frankly, there's not a quarterback that's worth a top 10 pick.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And so we'll see. And if the mock works out or the draft works out like it does in yours, where 2 quarterbacks going to the top 10, there are going to be some really good prospects coming down to that 15 spot. Garrett Wilson's one of them, a great wide receiver, has all the tools. I love the pick. I think the Eagles should go up and get a wide receiver just because you need to know if Jalen Hurts is your guy. You have 2 picks next year in the draft. Give Jalen Hurts the tools that he needs to succeed. And if he can go win the NFC East and make it look like the Eagles can be a Super Bowl contender with him at the helm, find your quarterback of the future. If you don't, you ship Jalen Hurts, maybe you just bench him and go get a quarterback this year or next year. And that quarterback is going to have a great wide receiver room with Devontae Smith and Garrett Wilson and Dallas Goedert. So I love that pick for a lot of reasons. Jameson Williams, 16, also love that pick.
That's an easy pick. I think that makes so much sense.
Jameson Winston
would be crazy not do it.
Yeah, Jameis. I keep calling Jameson Winston Jameis.
It's tough. It actually is tough.
It is tough because then you're talking
JW
to the. It's putting my small brain in a blend. Anyways, Jameis Winston loves pushing the ball downfield. Jameson Williams has just game-breaking speed with the production to back it up. I feel like in the past, outside of guys like Jalen Waddle, a lot of those speedsters who are getting picked in the top 20 like don't have the production in college to back up their picks. Jameson Williams does. I think and then you see those players kind of become busts. Jameson Williams has that. When I watch the film, I see a little bit more shake and route run polish that I kind of assumed wasn't there. So I do like Jameson Williams there. I think it's a really good pick. And then the burn man, I think I had this in my mock too. Bernhard Raimann going to go play right tackle for the Chargers. I take that back. I have the Chargers trading up, and they're going to trade up to go get
the burn?
Evan Neal.
That could happen at. Although I don't, they'd have to jump far up realistically.
Now the problem is they need to figure out how to pay Justin Herbert, so those draft picks are important. And how are they going to get up into the top 10? That being
they're
said,
a loaded team elsewhere.
They're a loaded team. They just need a right tackle, and I think Evan Neal would be great for them. Rashawn Slater, Evan Neal protecting Justin Herbert, the future of the franchise, makes me excited inside. Bernhard Raimann, though, I think there might be some growing pains at right tackle early, but this dude's trajectory is just he's getting better so fast that even this year, like it might be even a tough couple of games, but I could see this guy settling in to be a really good tackle, and in the next 5 years. I am super confident this guy's going to be an awesome tackle in the league. He's got the athleticism. He's got the play strength. He's just got to fill off that frame and get the technique right. This dude's going to be a stud. He's going to be so good. He didn't allow a single pressure the last 6 games of the season. He's a dominant player. Okay.
I think he's good.
Nakobe Dean, again, the Rock Boys are Nakobe Dean guys. It doesn't take you long to turn on the film. I don't mean to be
the game on. He's so good.
He's so good. He's one of those guys where it doesn't take long. Like
Michigan couldn't move. Michigan couldn't move the ball an inch, primarily because of
Nakobe Dean. And he was a guy that
couldn't get the ball. You just can't get the ball sideline to side, horizontal at all. Everything needs to be going downhill all the time, or else he's cleaning it up. So
I
he's
love
so fast,
Nakobe Dean coming into the 2021 season. He was actually my All-American pick. I liked this dude before this year, and he just made me look like a genius that I'm just certainly not. But he just flies around the field. and make so many plays and was the leader, the captain of that defense. Think about how much talent was on that team. He was the guy leading the charge. I think he's going to be a great guy to be in the locker room. I think he's going to be a great pro. The Eagles need a good linebacker. I love it. And then finally, Travon Walker, in terms of fit, this is a great fit.
I think this is a great fit if they can get him.
There's just no way, personally. Hearing what the NFL thinks of Travon Walker, and I get it, like 35-inch arms.
I'm still not convinced, honestly. I'm not convinced that there's not smoke screens out the wazoo.
But would the smoke screens be that extreme where it's like, oh, he's a lock to go number 2, and then he falls to 20 or 19?
People, like, again, I'll go back, like, nobody had Baker Mayfield in, like, the first round until draft night came around, and then he was the first pick.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, trust these, like, guru experts, like, because everything shakes out differently.
You are seeing an odd amount of reports of the same thing where it's like, oh, the GM of the Jaguars.
None of these guys have real sources. They have like agents. I'm pretty sure it's like 99% of the, because there's no way GMs are talking. There's just no way. It's way too much of a disadvantage to say who you're gonna pick to like a Lancer line or any of the reporters. Why would they? Why would they?
And another thing to keep in mind is that it's just you're hearing the same thing from like multiple media guys. So it's almost like they're just purposely getting this information out. It's spreading like wildfire. And so I'd be surprised if Travon Walker falls this low, but I also wouldn't be surprised. And I think it's going to be one of our props that Travon Walker falls outside of the 2.5. So an interesting. We're going to have our NFL draft props in the next week, so stay tuned for that. Tyler Linderbaum falling to not even falling to 20. I guess he gets picked early in your mock.
Yeah, I think that's earlier than most, but
not much to say other than he's going to
can't get a tackle here, so you need I think you want to help out. You want to help out that offensive line. He's the best guy.
Tyler Linderbaum's going to be one of the best centers in the league day one. It's just I haven't. Not that I've been doing this for that long of a time, but like I haven't evaluated a guy that's this good at center. He's just a freak.
I'll say it again. He could be called the best player in college football last year. Just pure play.
Way better than Creed Humphrey. Way better than Creed Humphrey. Look how good Creed Humphrey is.
He's a freak athlete.
He's different. Way different. He had the best 3 cone in history. 100th percentile. Devin Lloyd to the Patriots. This makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of souring on Devin Lloyd. I've seen a lot of hype of Devin Lloyd going in the top 15, and maybe I'm just like reacting too strongly to it, but it's just he's not a top 15 player, but around 20 towards the back end of the first round. I think it's a good fit.
He just seems to be exactly what the Pats want. Like a guy who can blitz, a guy you can cover. Like he just does everything well. I don't think he's as explosive an athlete as Nakobe Dean or like a true inside linebacker, but he's got the versatility that like the Chase Winoviches, they love Kyle Van Noy's, the Jamie Count, like that. He fits that mold. I think he's a good fit there. So.
Yep. And then Treylon Burks, I disagree with this.
You hate Treylon Burks. Huh?
Do you have Drake London falling out of the first round?
Yeah, you do. I had him early second.
That's interesting. Treylon Burks is a guy that I'm not that high on. Like, I'd rather see the Packers go get. Who'd you have see? Like, I wouldn't mind if they go Treylon Burks and then like a Jahan Dotson or Sky Moore. But it's just Treylon Burks is a guy that I get how meaningful explosive plays are. I get it. And he was as explosive as any player in the country at Arkansas. But it's just like he's just like doesn't have.
My thoughts are is they could end up with a John Mechie in the second. And I think they can double up the wideout position because they're pretty good everywhere else. Like maybe they can take a linebacker in the second or third. But they can take 2 wide receivers, no problem. Plus they got the extra pick. I don't think you can find a big play explosive wideout in the neighborhood of Treylon Burks. I'm not sure you separate that much with Mechie and Dotson. I think Dotson's far better.
No,
but I think the difference of the big dog, big play wideouts is like there's no one like Treylon Burks in this draft in my mind.
Yeah, he's going to be an interesting one. I think I'm going to move.
You got to use Aaron Rodgers' arm. He's like getting hosed over there. You can't let it loose.
I do agree with that. To be honest, have been thinking about putting George Pickens over Treylon Burks the more I watch George Pickens. I've been watching a lot of George Pickens films.
Did you watch the game though?
I've been watching a lot of George Pickens pre-injury film, and like George Pickens is that dude. George Pickens is that.
He's good, but Just you look like he's playing slow motion.
Yeah, I mean, he was 8 months off of ACL surgery.
I know.
Maybe that makes sense. But pre-injury, George Pickens was another animal. He was a freak. Kenyon Green to the Cardinals. I think the Cowboys get sniped a little bit here. So I think the Cowboys really want Kenyon Green. Kenyon Green's a guy that he's been moving down boards just because he didn't test that well. But this guy's not a tester. Like he's not a guy that's going to go
some offensive
kill it in the underwear Olympics. I don't like to call it that, but I'll call it that there to satisfy you. But you turn on the film, this dude's a mauler. He's just an absolute nasty sicko freak. Just moves grown men around, buries them in the dirt, a road grader. He can even play tackle if you need him to. I think he's going to be a great guard. Absolute sicko the more I watch him, though. He's just a mauler, man. He's just a big lower half. I'm going to just put you in the dirt. And he's not like a fake tough guy like Trevor Penning. He doesn't go out there paint his face like in all black and he just does it.
No, he's just a monster. He's just so good.
Devonte Wyatt to the Lions or to the Cowboys, I should say.
I'm on the Devonte Wyatt.
Yeah.
Maybe number 2 D lineman. Well, obviously. So
yeah, I wonder if they go Zion Johnson just because I really do think they need to address that. But the problem with the Zion Johnson pick is I'm not convinced that you can go pick up like a Jamari Salyer in the second, third round. And isn't going to be
their offensive line was top to bottom terrible. I'd agree with the Zion Johnson more, but it's actually like pretty good besides maybe a left guard spot, which they need help with. And I don't know if you're just addressing one kind of side of it or one position that you go that high when you have other needs.
And Devonte Wyatt's a playmaker. I think his game's going to translate when he gets asked to do a little bit more than he was asked at Georgia. I think he's going to be a good playmaker. I like that pick. And then Andrew Booth, the Bills. I'm more of a Kaiir Elam guy the more I watch. I think Kaiir Elam, Andrew Booth's film wasn't
That's fair.
Awesome. I like Kaiir Elam's length, his physicality. He's a good athlete. I could go either or. I said that on my mock. I had them going Kaiir Elam, but you could certainly go Andrew Booth. We need a cornerback. Ideally, Trent McDuffie falls, but yeah. George Karlaftis falling. See, when I got back to thinking about it, George Karlaftis is probably getting pushed down too many boards. I think he's getting pushed down because Jermaine Johnson, Travon Walker have shot up. Like as the process started, he was the third edge behind Hutch and Thibbs. And then as Travon Walker and Jermaine Johnson, who probably are better prospects than him, moved up, he's getting
probably end up on the Saints, honestly. Because
I think
Travon Walker probably won't make it realistically.
Yeah.
And I think the Saints, good chance they end up.
Because George Karlaftis, he's not flashy. He doesn't have the flashy burst and bend. That's going to be an elite pass rusher like a Von Miller or the Myles Garrett.
But it'll help them now when they're close. So.
But this dude's he's going to be a good, solid plus edge guy who's going to push pockets. He's going to be good against the run. I don't see him falling to 26. I think just because there's a couple edge guys who's passed him in the ranks, I still don't think he falls outside the top 20. Zion Johnson, I really would be so surprised if Zion Johnson's on the board and the Bucs pass him up.
That'd be crazy. They need help in the inside.
And they need help immediately. And Zion Johnson's a guy that's going to come back and be just a stud immediately. Your guy, Trevor Penning. I didn't think I'd see him in the first round. I actually almost had him falling outside of the first round.
I think it makes sense here because I think they probably have tackles for the next 2 years with Bakhtiari and Billy Turner, or even Elgin Jenkins. So they probably are set there. I think if you give him a shot, he can probably make an impact at guard early. Maybe.
I agree. I do agree with that.
And maybe develop into a tackle by the time Bakhtiari's getting too old or whatever else, if that's how it shakes out. So I don't know. This was tough. I honestly, more that I think about it, the more I think they could just take Dotson and double the wideouts.
Yes.
Which actually is probably I didn't want to do it because I thought that looked like I forgot and did Treylon Burks back to back. But as I talked myself into it, I was like, you could defend that.
I doubled up. I think I doubled up. Yeah. I think it makes sense because Treylon Burks, it gets balanced out really well with what Jahan Dotson or Sky Moore brings to the table. Trevor Penning's a guy that I've had going up where the Ravens go at guard. But the thing is, he's a guard the first couple of years. And I don't even know if he'll ever be a tackle because the dude's 24 years old. He was the most penalized offensive lineman in football last year. People talk about his nasty streak, but he needs I get it. As an offensive line coach,
You need so much
6'7",
work.
320-pound guy who's just a super nasty guy. I get why he's attractive, but you're right. You just said it. He needs so much work. I don't see it. And he's 24. Like how much more development is there? Like if he doesn't know how to play tackle at this point, is he ever?
Well, he did play at UNI, so he probably does have some room because you just don't get the same coaching, the same competition in practice, all that. So I'll give him. He probably has room to grow in a pro system where he's playing good on good every day.
Yeah, and the frame and athleticism is enticing. Like it's hard to say. Like he's a good athlete for being 6'7". He just needs a lot of work. I think that's probably a fair. Like I think there will be teams that like Trevor Penning. Commanders get 2 back-to-back picks with their trade from the Chiefs.
I think this would work out nice for them.
This would work out awesome. I have actually the Commanders. They got Jaquan Brisker in the early second round. In the mock I did, which I think would also be good. But Daxton Hill is just a little bit more of a playmaker. I think he's a little bit more versatile, can play that nickel spot with sticky coverage, great ball skills. He's got the range to play like that cover one. He's a great blitzer, impacts the game in a lot of different ways. That's what they need. And then they get Jahan Dotson, a wide receiver that we have a solidified first-round grade on. This guy's really good. Just a little undersized, but we're seeing undersized receivers make it happen in the NFL like candy now. So this makes a lot of sense. This is one of in a realistic. It's a very realistic and a great draft for the Commanders. I could see them trading back to the Packers as well, like or the Saints. Like whoever has 2 picks and wants to move up to get a stud. This would work. Bengals go get Kyrie Elam, my guy, and then Jalen Petrie falls to the Lions at 32. I had Devin Lloyd falling at 32, but there's going to be a bunch of guys, whether it's a linebacker, whether it's a safety / nickel. Jalen Petrie, the one thing I'll say about Jalen Petrie is you got to figure out what he's going to do. Is he going to be a slot? Is he going to be a safety? Is he going to be like a box safety?
See, that's the thing, though. I feel like that both those roles are becoming so important now that you can take him there and I think he can frankly do both or be like a playmaking star like the college spot. He just was really good at Baylor is kind of what I think.
That's what, and when you're using a top 32 pick, dude, his film is just so fun to watch because he's all over the place.
You should be able to find somewhere to go with because he's really could play.
Like Jabril Peppers did at the Giants. Like, where's he going to play? Like, he's a stud, playmaker, dope athlete, good football player. He's going to find a role. You need to make sure you know the role. I don't even you pick him and you figure it out. Figure it out later. That's fair.
You trust the player. He's so good.
Yeah, I mean, 18.5 tackles for loss, I think it was. Like, that's freaky.
That's crazy.
That's freaky. And I think it was almost double-digit sacks, too. The guy lives behind the backfield. I comped him to, like, just a little smaller Jamal Adams, where I think maybe he's not as physical taking on blocks like Jamal Adams.
But he covers.
But he covers at a much higher level. But the dude just gets in the backfield. You can walk him up, and he's a freak in the box. And so this makes a lot of sense. The Lions are in the business of getting good players who are going to impact the game. They get Kayvon Thibodeaux and Jalen Petrie. I love it. Bill, this was a good mock. Appreciate you making it. Appreciate you guys for watching it. If y'all like the content, subscribe, like the video. We love chopping it up about ball in the comment section. Again, live NFL draft watch party on the channel. Come hang out with the boys. I was going to say grab a cold one. Probably won't say that.
Sure.
That was stupid. I take that back. That was stupid. But come watch the draft with the boys. We obviously appreciate all the support, and we'll be back with some more NFL draft content and them spring game previews tomorrow, Saturday, loaded slate. Come check those out too. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back later with some more content. Peace.